Welcome back. Today we're doing a brand new explainer on something absolutely massive. We are going to map out the complete journey of the United States, literally from its very beginning all the way to today. It is a story full of wild twists and turns, so let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. What if I told you that one of the world's most powerful countries began as just 13 tiny colonies, perched right on the edge of a vast ocean? I mean, it seems almost impossible, doesn't it? How does a small group of settlements transform into a global superpower? Well, that's exactly the mystery we're going to unravel today. Here's our map for today's journey. We'll cover 1. The early Americas, 2. The 13 colonies, 3. The American Revolution, 4. Expansion and Civil War, 5. Becoming a world power, and 6. America today. Part 1. The early Americas. Long before anyone ever drew borders on a map, Native American tribes lived and thrived across the entire continent. And North America is huge. It has vast forests, wide open plains, and incredibly diverse landscapes. So different tribes adapted to these unique environments. They built bustling villages, hunted animals, created really rich cultures, and successfully lived across the land for thousands of years. So, native tribes are thriving pre-1492. But when Christopher Columbus arrives, it sparks this massive era of European exploration. Throughout the 1500s, explorers from Spain, France, and England start sailing ships all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, totally eager to explore this new world. Part 2. The 13 colonies. Let's move to the next step and see how this builds. This is where the English established a permanent foothold. They built exactly 13 small colonies right along the coastline. Now, daily life in these colonies was incredibly hard work. The people had to farm all their own food, build their own homes from scratch, and learn to survive in a totally unfamiliar place. But little by little, these tiny settlements began to grow and establish their own unique ways of life. Backing up a bit, in 1607, the first permanent settlements began. And throughout the 1600s and 1700s, these colonies grow larger and larger. But what happened next? Well, by the 1770s, tensions start to brew. The colonists were getting really frustrated with some unfair rules placed on them by a king who was, thousands of miles away across the ocean. Part 3. The American Revolution. So the people living in the colonies had to pay all these taxes to the British government, but they felt this was deeply unfair because they didn't have a voice in that government. They called this no taxation without representation. To put that into perspective, imagine your teacher taking your lunch every single day, but never asking your opinion on what the classroom rules should be. You'd probably want to rebel too. And that frustration led to major protests, like the famous Boston Tea Party. And this brilliantly illustrates the timeline. The Boston Tea Party in 1773 is a major turning point. Soon after, war actually breaks out. A leader named George Washington steps up to lead the colonial army in a really tough fight for independence. In 1776, they officially declare that independence, and after years of hard-fought battles under their new flag, they actually win, eventually signing the Constitution in 1787 to create their very own set of rules. Part 4. Expansion and Civil War. Okay, with a new government in place, the map of the country was about to get much, much bigger. In 1803, the United States makes the Louisiana Purchase. This practically doubled the size of the entire country overnight. This kicks off westward expansion as people pack up their wagons and physically move across the plains. And when gold is discovered in 1849, the famous gold rush brings thousands more rushing toward the West Coast in search of fortune. But as the country grows, it also deeply divides. The northern and southern states developed entirely different economies and ways of life. Most significantly, they were divided over the issue of slavery, which was practiced in the South but increasingly opposed in the North. Ultimately, when Abraham Lincoln is elected president, these deep divisions finally break the country apart, leading to a profound national crisis. After those national tensions peak, the Civil War officially begins in 1861. The country was essentially split in two for 4 long, devastating years. The war finally ends in 1865, preserving the United States as a single country and leading to the end of slavery. But as you can imagine, the rebuilding process would take generations. Part 5. Becoming a world power. So, the crucial point is that after surviving incredible internal division, the country begins to move fast. The Industrial Revolution brings massive factories and new technology. Soon after, the United States plays major roles in both world wars. The following Cold War pushes global tensions incredibly high, but it also pushes technology to unbelievable heights, literally culminating in humanity's first moon landing. Now, what's really interesting here is the timing. America enters World War I in 1917, World War II in 1941, and just a few decades later, in 1969, American astronauts are walking on the moon. The sheer speed of technological and global growth during this century was truly unprecedented. Part 6, America Today. And that brings our chronological adventure right up to the present day. Today, the United States is defined by its constant innovation. It's the home of modern technology that completely changes how we live every single day. It is the birthplace of Hollywood movies, the home of NASA's continued space exploration, and the very foundation of the internet. But perhaps its most defining feature is its highly diverse population, people from all over the world who continue to drive this amazing culture of innovation forward. Because, history didn't just stop in the past. From the beginning of a new era in 2001 to the incredible innovations we use today, history is happening right now, all around us. That blank space at the end of the timeline, that represents the future, which is, of course, yet to be written. And that leaves us with this final thought. The story of America is still being written, and the next chapter belongs to the people living there today. Think about it. From 13 tiny colonies on the edge of an ocean to a nation exploring the stars. What will the next chapter hold? Well, that is something we will all have to watch unfold together. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.